Beautiful jellyfish, it's Tracy. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch my video. Today I'm going to be doing a video for you guys talking all about Kolaghan's command, and basically this is a series, Card Focus is a series on my channel where basically I just talk like all about a single magic card in a video. If you want me to talk about any card in particular, about why it's so great, leave it in the comments below. So, I've been meaning to film this video for a while, talking all about Kolaghan's command and why this card is like insane, and I'm just like, I can't even say like enough great things about this. I run Grixis Control in Modern, and this card has been popping up in Grixis Control lists, and I think Grixis Delver lists, I'm pretty sure, and as like a 2 or a 3 of. I've seen even some people do it as like a 4 of in some Grixis Control lists. But this card's insane, and I want to talk about why. So basically, let's talk about each of the modes in this card. Well, first, actually, before we even get into the modes, let's talk about the fact that there are modes in this card. So, like, if you look at, like, a lot of really awesome Magic cards, like, they give you options. That's really, really great, because sometimes you have some cards and they're just completely useless in some matchups. So, like, when you have options of things, you're all like, oh, wow, like, this mode is useless in a matchup, but hey, it's okay because you got 3 other modes to choose from, which is super, super fantastic. And speaking of that, I feel like what's really great about this card is that, like, you know, something like 2 damage and like say like discard and like destroy trigger artifact like aren't even relevant in the matchup at all. The fact that like 2 damage is pretty much relevant like for basically everything, because you can, if anything, if they don't even have creatures that you can like basically like do 2 damage to, you can just deal it to their face. The only instance where that like wouldn't work is if they have like a Leyline of Sanctity out, which I haven't really been seeing that card pop up in that many people's lists. I mean, that's just me, like I just haven't seen it like too much in the meta, though I think it's a great sideboard card. Especially for burn. I feel like Leyline's gonna pop up a lot more because we're getting a lot more burn in Modern with the rise of Tron and the new Eldrazi deck. But anyways, so say like you have those 2 modes are completely useless in the matchup and there's just no artifacts on board, like it's just useless. The fact that like you can deal 2 damage, which is great, and the fact that you can like bring back target creature from your graveyard to your hand is just amazing. And we're going to talk about why that's so great in a bit. But first let's go through each of the modes. I don't know what the modes are in order actually, so I'm just going to pick one and go from there. I think the first one is target player discards a card. So, this is something that's just, like, really good. Not super amazing if you're playing against a deck like Jund or like Abzan, because they want to discard things to feed their Grim Lavamancer. They can discard Lingering Souls. If you're playing against like a Zoo deck, they can discard like Loxodon Smiter. So potentially in those matchups, card is not super great. Definitely something you may want to consider even sideboarding out. Most times you won't ever want to discard this card, but like if you have those matchups, Kolaghan's command, like for that mode, it's just not good. But it's really good. I mean, like, just locking out a card in their hands, if they have nothing to do with their graveyard, you don't even care if it goes to the graveyard. It also does say target player, not target opponent, so if you need to discard something, like, you really need to, like, get something in your graveyard so that you can cast Snapcaster Mage or whatever, that's, like, really, really good, or you just need something in your graveyard, like, you know, you want to discard, like, something to fuel your Tasigur, like, something like that. I think the card is, like, really, really good for that reason. So, yeah, target player discards a card, always like a really good thing to have. Hand disruption and things it's just really, really fantastic. Like, it's just something that, you know, a lot of decks in the format have cards like that, and just really good. So, that mode's good. Then we have Destroy Target Artifact, and let's be real here, this is not going to be used in every matchup. Hey, that's okay though. The thing is though, is that there's this deck in Modern called Affinity, and yeah, you really want to deal with it. The fact that this card is so good against Affinity, I can't even tell you, because they're like, they have got like Ornithopter, and they're like, Ornithopter, and you're like, cool, and they're like, cranial plating, put the cranial plating on my Ornithopter, and I'm like, okay, cool. They're like, swing with the Ornithopter, and I'm like, okay, cool story, bro. I'm gonna do 2 damage to your Ornithopter, and then let's see, I'm gonna destroy target artifact, destroy cranial plating. It is just absolutely incredible. This card hoses Affinity. Like, the Affinity matchup in general for Grixis Control is so good. Like, I love my matchup against Affinity, because, like, you run Kolaghan's command, but then you also run Snapcaster Mages, and just Snapcaster Mage Kolaghan's command is just, like, the best thing ever. It's like, cool, block your whatever, and then, you know, like, it's just so good. So, yeah, so that is really cool. Yeah, destroy target effect. So yeah, it's good. It's really, really good against affinity. You know, honestly, what other decks in Modern run artifacts? Oh, yeah, this is really, really good against Spellskite. Now, Spellskite is a card that is really weird right now because a lot of reasons why people were running Spellskite, like people run Spellskites for basically, or they were running Spellskites for two reasons. One is to avoid like damage to themselves, so someone's like lightning bolt, you're like, Spellskite it. So like that, or like Spellskite's like really good against Twin, but the thing is that Twin isn't a thing. So like, but however, like the thing with Spellskite though is like, I guess it's good. Is it good? Yeah, okay, it's good against Kiki Court as well, so like that makes sense. But I mean, when like Kiki Court is not super popular though, it's like rising up in popularity, like you know, with Modern. But like, really really good against Twin because someone's like, I'm gonna make tokens, and you're like, cool, bro, Spellskite. That's really good. So, anyways, Spellskite is a card that's really popping up a lot, especially with this Eldrazi deck that's been coming out of like pretty much nowhere is a Relic of Progenitus, and say they tap out for the Relic of Progenitus, you can be like, cool, and they can't, you know, pay the 1 mana for it to exile all cards in graveyard. You can cast Kolaghan's Command. Has to tap out for something, you can just, you know, cast Kolaghan's Command and destroy it, which is just really really good. So yeah, that's destroy target artifact. And you know, especially too, like a lot of people would be like, oh, there aren't a lot of artifacts in Modern except for like Affinity, but you're wrong because there's Spellskite and there's Relic, and those are popping up everywhere basically. And Spellskite is a card that will, I mean, I don't know actually if people would bring it in now that I'm thinking about it against Grixis Control. I'm not really sure, but regardless. Okay, cool. Then we're going to talk about the 2 damage. Yeah, so something that's really really important with cards that deal damage places is like, okay, does it deal them to their face or to their creature or to both? Super super great. So the fact that like in this card you get 2 damage and it's to either place, really really good. 2 damage, get to kill a lot of things. It kills the Voice of Resurgence, it kills a Birds of Paradise, it kills a Snapcaster Mage, it kills Monastery Swift Spear, like, it kills just, like, a lot of stuff. So, yeah. And again, like I said, if not, if they just have stuff on the board, like they were like, Siege Rhino, and you're like, well, I can't deal with that. You're like, 2 damage and deal it to them upstairs. Yeah, okay, so that's really good. And then probably like the best mode on this card, like actually ever, and the most relevant mode on this card, probably ever, is going to be the return target creature from your graveyard to your hand. Now you're all like, man, yeah, I guess that seems pretty okay, but then you realize that you run this card with Kolaghan's Command called Snapcaster Mage. Maybe you've heard about it. It's like a really okay magic card. So like, someone's like, you're like, Snapcaster Mage, like, Bolt, or like, whatever. Snapcaster Mage, Remand, whatever. And then you're like, block their dude, and they're like, okay, cool, your Snapcaster Mage dies. And I'm like, awesome, I wanted that to happen. Because the next turn you're like, Kolaghan's Command, get back my Snapcaster Mage, do like Snapcaster, like, Bolt, or Snapcaster Thoughtseize, or like whatever. It's just so, so, so good. Like, the thing that's so amazing about Snapcaster Mage, there's a lot of amazing things about Snapcaster Mage, but one of the great things about this card is the fact that it's like, you cast like an instant or sorcery, and then you get to do it again. It's just like the greatest thing ever. But then like, that's awesome, but then you get to bring back Snapcaster and then cast something again. It's like living the dream. It's basically the greatest thing ever. Like, this card with like P and Karen Alar is just like absolutely insane. If they kill your Tasigur and you've got a lot of stuff in your graveyard, you're like, bring back my Tasigur. Like, you know, it just makes killing things like really awful in the game, because then you're like, oh great, yes, I would very much like it for you to kill my Snapcaster Mage and let me get another trigger. Like, it's just so good. And it makes like killing things really not ideal, and it forces people to like need to like exile things basically. Because, you know, then you just get another trigger, and it's like super awesome. So, yeah guys, that was it. That's pretty much my spiel on Kolaghan's Command. This card is sweet. Like, oh man, like, I actually changed up my sideboard recently for Grixis Control, and I was actually running Fulminator Mages instead of Blood Moons and Crumble to Dust in my sideboard. I was running 1 Crumble and 2 Fulminator Mages, and I was all like, this is great because I can Snapcaster, because I can Kolaghan's Command Fulminator Mage, but then I actually took it out because I don't, like, you know what it is? It was just like against the Tron matchup, you just need to be quicker. Like, and the thing about the deck is I think that Fulminator works better in a deck like Delver, which has like the early pressure of a card like Delver. So I just don't think that Grixis Control, like, I don't think it works that well. And I need to beat Tron, and I was kind of like, I'll just run Crumble to Dust. And I mean, Crumble to Dust is good in like that and the Eldrazi matchup too. So if you can like stall the Eldrazi deck out for like a while and like cast Crumble to Dust, and also they can't hit Crumble to Dust with Inquisition, which is just like really, really important. So yeah, alright guys, that was it. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day/night, and I'll talk to you guys later.